Yeah, welcome to Edumok Technologies. Today I will be teaching you what is called Introduction to PHP. Introduction to PHP. What is PHP? As we all know, PHP is an acronym for Hyper Preprocessor. PHP is a server scripting language that is designed to specifically for web development. It is an open source and a programming language. When we say it is an open source, it means you can download um, PHP or an editor to write them. It is not proprietary. It is not a secured program. It's an open source and it's free. It is free. PHP is an acronym once again for hyper preprocessor and is a server-side programming language. It is also an high-level language used for web development, specifically for web development, because you cannot use PHP for Windows-based applications softwares. It is for web development or web applications. Now, PHP is a server-side language. What do we mean by server-side? It means it is a back-end programming language, unlike the client-side language, which is HTML and CSS. So PHP is a back-end programming language. It's a server-side. When we say back-end, it means uh, there are things that they do behind the scene of a web page. There are some functionalities some website performs. These are the backend of that program. It can be written using PHP or any other server-side programming language. So this PHP code is executed or it's run on the server, unlike our normal HTML, which can be rendered on the browser easily. But here, as for PHP, you execute your code on the server. It can be a local server or an online server. How do you install PHP on your system? Installing PHP on our system is a very simple process. What you just need to install one, you install the web server. How do you install the web server? What you just need to get is to install what is called the XAMPP server, XAMPP, XAMPP server, or you get the WAMP server, or you get the Uni server. These are a local server software that can allow you to render or to develop a PHP web applications. Install a database such as MySQL, MyStructure query language. Though the XAMPP server comes with MySQL and it comes with the Apache web server. So once you install XAMPP server, you automatically have a database in that server. Now, how do we write PHP? This is the basic PHP syntax. A PHP script can be placed anywhere in the document of your HTML. A PHP script normally starts with the angle brackets question mark PHP and end with question mark angle bracket of like greater than. So while your other code executes from this place, from this line here, sorry, from this line here, you must have this, angle brackets question mark PHP and it closes with this. So when you're writing PHP, don't forget it starts with this and it ends with this. Every other PHP codes are executed in between this opening of the PHP code here and the closing of the PHP. Now, the default the default extension for PHP file is .php. If you are familiar with your HTML, anytime you are developing a website built with HTML and CSS, we save the website name with probably index.html, aboutus.html, contact.html, apply.html, register.html, login.html, and so on and so forth. But as for the case of PHP, its default file extension is .php, which I mark in red with this quote. .php must be written at the back of your file naming. A PHP file normally contains HTML tags and some PHP scripting code. So one of the prerequisites is you must know how to make use of HTML and their tags before you can dwell into PHP, because um, the PHP code interacts probably with the front-end code, which is the HTML and CSS. The PHP code interacts with them, so they both interact with each other. So it is expected that you know how to use your HTML, how to develop a simple HTML page. So you are expected to be familiar with the HTML syntax because it will be used when developing a PHP a PHP development. Below, we have an example of a simple PHP file with a PHP script that uses a built-in function echo to output the text. The meaning of echo in PHP is to print. Just like a basic programming language, there are some basic programming languages their syntax for displaying an information on the screen is print. So as for PHP, we have echo. Echo means something to come out like a sound. The echo is to bring out a text. To output a result or is to print a result. So echo. So we now say below we have an example of a simple PHP file with a PHP script that uses the built-in function of PHP echo to output the text hello tech in tech on the web page. Though PHP allows you to use print too. PHP uses print and it uses echo. But echo is a PHP function for displaying an output. Or you can make use of the print as well. So we want to write a PHP code that display this hello tech in tech. So how do we do that? So let's proceed. You can see we have this is our HTML page, HTML code syntax. We have doc type HTML, we have HTML, we have body, we have h1 PHP page. We close our h1. We have PHP. Don't forget we said anytime you want to write a PHP program, you start with this less than question mark PHP and you close the PHP with question mark and this angle bracket here. So every other PHP script will be in between. That's why we have echo hello tech in tech. This is embedded inside our PHP, our HTML code. So PHP can be written inside your HTML, inside the body of your HTML page, and it can be written outside body of your HTML page as well. So with that said, note PHP statement normally ends with a semicolon. Anytime you are through with any of the PHP script, in between the PHP opening of PHP and closing of PHP, anytime you are entering any scripts here, you must finish the script with your semicolon. We said echo hello in tech. This hello in tech hello tech in tech is in between is a what is it called? A quote. A quote is in between a quote here, this quote and this closing quote, which means anything in between this quote should be displayed using the echo, should be output on the browser for us. So we now said after that you have to end that line with a semicolon. So PHP statement normally ends with a semicolon. You need to understand this. Don't forget, because once you not put semicolon, there will be an error in the body of that page, that web page. So PHP here, it is not PHP. In PHP, some of these keywords, some of these keywords, they are not case sensitive. Like if you are using if you use capital letter if, it is correct. If you use else, capital letter or small letter, or if you mix them together, they are all correct. Echo, etc. Classes, functions, and user-defined functions are, but all these ones, classes, functions, and user-defined functions, they are case sensitive. But these ones, these keywords, if, else, while, echo, these PHP functions, they are not case sensitive. Look at this. We have echo, capital letter. We have echo in small letter. We have echo. This echo are the same. They are going to print hello world. They are going to print hello world. This is going to print hello world as well. So the example below, all the three echo statements below are legal and they are equal. They are the same thing and they are legal. That it means you are free to use them that way. It is correct. But mostly you can follow the lowercase styling, lowercase style. I prefer so that your code can be easily readable and understand. But if it is mixed together, if the cases are mixed together, whether in capital letter and small letter together, they are going to perform the same thing. So it is legal and it is correct. You can use them. Note: all variable names are case sensitive. What are variables first? Let's discuss about what's called variable. A variable is like a container that is used to store data or information. For example, you have a bag and you decide to put a book inside the bag. That bag there serve as that container. That bag is like a variable. The book that you put inside the bag is the data that you kept inside the bag. So the bag now is holding the book, just like a wallet. In a wallet, you can have money inside. So when you put a money inside a wallet, that wallet is like your variable now. The money you store inside that wallet is the data. So variables are containers that is used to store data, or they are values that are used to store data. Or are used to hold data, as the case may be. So look at this. Let's look at this simple program. We see our normal HTML, doc type HTML body. We have our close body. We have our close HTML. Now we put our PHP code in between. These are PHP code in between the body. Don't forget we said we start with this and we close this. Now, variable. How do we declare variable in PHP? We declare variable using $sign and the variable you want to have. For example, you can say name, $name, $age, $where, $first name, $last name, $address. Those are variables. The variable can be named in anything you want to name it. It's your choice to name a variable what you like. Our Nigerian spelling of writing colors, or the British way of writing color, is COLOUR. So you can decide to say $COLOUR as your color. So now in this, what you are seeing here, in this program you are seeing here, this simple program showing that we have $color equals to, in quotes, red, Don't forget we said anytime you are done with that line, you have to end it with semicolon. That is why we are saying semicolon here. What simply means that we are just trying to show you what a variable looks like. Variables are containers that is used to hold values or data. Now, this color variable that is here in this program here is equals to red. That means red is being stored inside this variable color. Red is being stored inside what? Inside variable color. This red is stored inside this color. That's why we have is equals to. The equals to here is an assignment statement under the operator. We'll still get to operators. It's an assignment statement because we said just like in mathematics, we say let x equals to 1. So that means our x is 1. Our x is only 1. So now here we say color, $color, anytime we are naming a variable, it starts with $sign in PHP. Other languages have their own way of naming their variable. So PHP starts with $sign. $color is equals to red. So color here is red. So that is why we now say, okay, let us echo, this is going to display my car is color. My car is what? Red. My house is red. My boat is color. My house is color. But do you know that in this program, only one of them will be executed because we said variable names are case sensitive. So the variable name that is here is small letter or true, $color. Now, in this third line, after this echo, after we have our echo, my car is color, this one is correct. This second line, echo, my house is, there will be an error here because this variable name is of uppercase. This variable name here is uppercase, and the one we define here is a lowercase variable. So these are two different variables. So that's why we said variable names are case sensitive. The way you define it must be the way you are going to use it in the program. Echo, my boat is color. This is going to give you problem too. So thank you. While I do some of the practicals for you on my system, don't forget I told you that anytime you want to install PHP on your system, you have to install what is called the XAMPP. This is an example of the XAMPP server. And I said the PHP normally runs on the server. It doesn't run like the way HTML runs. HTML can be rendered on the browser at any time. So I'll be showing you how to write the PHP code now. Like this simple code we have in our examples here, I'll be showing you how to go about them. So showing you the practical on how to run that. Look at my desktop here. You can decide to create a folder on your desktop for the PHP project. So this is my folder. I want to name my folder now to PHP learn. Now this folder, you need to copy this folder. You can see copy this folder to your C drive. You go to your computer, this PC, you open your C drive, you locate what is called the XAMPP. This is XAMPP. You open the XAMPP folder, you open htdocs and paste it there, and paste that folder you copied there. So you can see PHP learn. So now, after pasting that in that htdocs folder, of course, if you have installed your XAMPP, if you have installed the XAMPP server, automatically you are going to have the XAMPP folder inside your C drive here. So once you open this, you copy the folder into your htdocs and paste it there. So after doing that, you open your Visual Studio Code if you have installed one. Then you can decide to carry that folder you just copied, carry it and drop it here on your project. You just add to folder workspace, click OK, you say yes. So we have the folder here. So I want to create, so I would like to create a PHP file now. So after created a PHP file, you can start to say, you guys click on that folder I just dropped and say new file. I name the file index.php. Click on enter. Yes. I decided to use my HTML syntax. HTML, HTML5. Okay. I have this by default. PHP learn my title. Now, like I've said it, that your PHP code can be inside the body of your HTML code and it can also be outside. So now our PHP code is going to be written in the body of this program. For example, we are trying to write a program to display tech in tech on the browser. We'll say angle bracket, open bracket, angle bracket, say PHP. How do we close? We close by saying question mark, then greater than angle bracket. So now, using the PHP function to print, use echo, 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 then put tech in tech. Don't forget that we said once you are done with the script, you have to put semicolon to finish that line. Finish that line. So now, if you look at this is a PHP code now. How do we launch this? If you have to launch this, if you open this PHP learn folder, you see that you have your index file, but we cannot open it directly from the browser because it is a server-side language. It is not HTML that we can render from the browser. This cannot be opened with the browser. It cannot directly, just like the way we open our normal HTML. But how do we launch this from the browser? Since you have installed your XAMPP server, you need to start your XAMPP. Let me launch my XAMPP server. This is my XAMPP. So I'm trying to launch mine. Let's wait for it while it loads. So once your XAMPP control server launch, you click on start boot and or mostly you start the Apache if you're not working with MySQL database now, or if you're still we can both start the two. So I'm starting both. So you minimize this. Once you are done, you open your browser and launch based on the folder name. You just say localhost. Your own can be ordinary localhost. I've changed my port number. That's why we have localhost column 81. I changed my port number. So yours can be ordinary localhost slash PHP learn. Let's see. You can see this displays to us tech in tech based on what we have here. So we have tech in tech. Can you see? Tech in tech. If you want to print echo another thing, you can say echo edumok technologies. Once we are done, like I said the other time, Once you are done, sorry, once you are done, put semicolon here to save, refresh. You can see we have Edumok technology printed at the front. So you can print as much as you can. So let's look at the other one that we use to display the variables and the color from what we have here, from here. So following this program that we have on my system here, we have um, a variable that was assigned to red. So don't forget we said all variable names are case sensitive. All variable names are are case sensitive. So anytime you are choosing choice of variable, you have to be cautious of what kind of or how did you write the variable, because if the variable is mixed when you are defining a smaller case variable and you are mixing it the way they mix these ones here, they are going to return errors for you. Going to return error. So let's go. So let's go and do the practical. So if you watch this, I'm going to delete this that I used for the example. Let's delete this. How do we define our variables? We said variable can be defined using the dollar sign. Let's say color, right? Equals to red. Put semicolon once you are done with that line. We now said echo. Remember, echo is a PHP function to print a statement out on the screen so that our browser here can print what we have here out. So my car is color. Then you can leave it this way. She's going to print color out the color name out for you. Save. You can see my car is red, and you can try to put column here to separate what you have there. Let's refresh again. My car is red. Let's use capital letter here. Sorry. My car is red. You can see. The reason why we are using this dot here is because we want to concatenate, we want to join what we have in a string statement here with our variable. That's why we have this dot here. The dots are used to join two words together. So if you do not use dot here, you can see there will be an error. So that's why we use dot here to join our variable with what we have in our string statement here, what we want to display out. So if you now say echo, let's watch. My book is is dollar color, sorry for the quote here, dollar, let's look, is dollar color. Let's see if it is going to print what you have here. As it has printed my car is red. Let's see if it's going to print my book is red as well. You can see undefined variable color, because the way we name our variable here is small letter all through. Why using small letter and capital letter together here? It's going to be wrong. The variable will not be identified. So it's telling us that the variable is undefined. That means we have not defined that variable. We only define a variable which is color in small letter here. So that's why it's printing red, but it cannot print this second line. It cannot print the second line, except you write it correctly by saying color. By then, you're going to print my book is red as well. Can you see the difference? So in this place now, since if you still want to use HTML tag here, you have to use dots here, because we want to join it with an HTML tag. So we say BR, which means break from our HTML page, break to the next line. So that's why my car is red, my book is red. I see that now. And if you miss it again, you say color, color. It's going to give you my book is undefined variable color, because the system cannot identify that a variable name here has been assigned to any color. This is a small letter, this is capital letter you are using here, so it will be wrong. Except you define a variable for capital letter color and say is probably blue. So by then, your variable echo my book. My book will now be blue. My car will be red, like this. You can see the results. So thank you. Thank you. I think we'll stop at this point.